I can click it right now. Here we go.
All right, well, it's 6:30. This is the Painesville Township Board of Zoning Appeals. I'm assuming the people here have signed in. We're gonna call the meeting to order. As we do for all our meetings, I ask that we stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, at this time, Rachel, would you call the roll?
Here.
Ken?
Here.
Dave Lindros?
Here.
Dale?
Here.
And Sherman.
Here, thank you. Let the record show that the 5 members that are here, names be recorded. At this time, I'm going to ask our legal counsel to explain to the people in the audience why you need to be sworn, and she will swear you in if you plan on testifying this evening.
Yes. When you do come up, just make sure you identify yourself, name, address of either the company you represent or your home address. You are swearing to, if you get up here and speak, you are swearing to tell this board the truth and nothing but the truth, because there is a possibility that these matters could be appealed to court, and we need to have a transcript, and what you're saying when the court reviews it needs to be the truth. So if you are going to come up here and speak to the board, you have to understand you are agreeing to that oath, and we would like you to identify yourself before you address the board.
Okay? You want to swear him now, or?
Sure.
Might as well.
Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
All right, thank you. All right, have you heard from the applicants for our first case this evening, Sean?
I have not. I cannot attest to myself making a phone call to that applicant, just because typically those calls are made that Friday prior to give them like, hey, just in that morning next to 3. I was on vacation last week and Harley's on vacation this week, so I don't necessarily know that answer. I apologize.
It's funny, I was in their driveway this morning, and I actually followed them into the driveway, and the person got out and kind of looked at me and just went in the house and never said anything. I thought,
Yeah.
they'd come and talk to me, ask who I was. But, we'll leave it up to the discretion of the board if you would like to give them some, I guess we can make a motion to continue this at least one time, the fact that they're not here. I'm just very hesitant to ever grant anything if there's no one here to plead their case. So the fact that they're not here, if they would show up, we can look at it later on in the meeting. So if someone it's my recommendation to continue until the next meeting, and then let's, either you or Harley let them know they need to be here if they want this considered.
I'll make a motion to continue 2024-0008.
Second?
Dave Lindros?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
David Zero?
Yes.
Dale?
Yes.
And Sherman.
Yes. Okay. All right, so now, Rachel, if you will read modification of conditional use permit 17 BZA-25.
Rachel, 1 second. Mandy, it was brought to our attention in terms of the application name and then the conditional use on the agenda is different name. So I think it's like a clerical oversight because TCE Blackbrook LLC CO Thomas Christopher. Basically, the applicant is 12705 LLC / Bloom.
It's 12708
Yeah.
LLC.
So the LLC is different versus that. The other one is the property owner themselves versus the business owner.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, yeah. It's on the application.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you're okay going forward because it did list the address of the subject of what we're here for. So I think that is most important part here, and I think we are okay because that's what the zoning has to do with, is the particular location and the exceptions for that.
So when she reads it, she'll just read it.
The
Applicant,
corrected,
the corrected, so that will be on the second page, Miss Rachel. Underneath the,
It's actually right on the first page, it says applicant. First page.
for us, it's second
Oh, okay,
page.
sorry.
Right there, Rachel.
So you'll read
Oh,
that whole line.
A question, Mandy, in our section 1203B,
Mhm.
it says a conditional use permit issued pursuant to the resolution shall be valid only to the applicant to whom the permit is issued.
And the applicant on our application is correct. If you look at it, at the application, it is under the proper LLC name.
Okay, so the applicant, by going to the address, that's referring back to the applicant.
Right, but I'm talking about for the notice
Oh,
on
okay.
the agenda, you know, that the
Yeah.
public gets to see.
Okay,
They're aware that it's involving this property, so I feel like there's been adequate notice.
okay,
In the application, the applicants did put the proper LLC name. The name of the property owners is in there, and that's what we had it listed on as the agenda, but the applicant is correct.
okay,
One-
one other question then, on a renewal of a conditional use permit, it is not required to go to the neighboring properties by letter, it's just in the newspaper,
Correct,
is that correct?
yes.
Okay, and that was done.
And the previous conditional use permit was under that, 127 OH LLC name as well.
Okay,
I did send because they were,
The modifications.
Yeah.
modifications, I did send out to 3 or 4 of the neighboring, properties for this.
oh, you did send it out?
Yeah, so they were still notified and there was still no call-ins or currently anybody here.
Because there is the modification, it's just not a renewal, there, modification to add the recreational aspect to it.
Okay, it's a renewal with a modification
Right.
added, correct? Okay, now, can she read it now?
Did I read it?
No,
Oh, yes,
Yep.
can she read it, yes.
Rachel, I did write it out.
Oh, I got it.
You got it.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, so applicant 127 OH LLC DBA Bloom Cannabis submitted an application for a conditional use permit renewal and modification for property located at 382 Blackbrook Road. Request is to renew conditional use permit 17-BZA-25 for a medical cannabis dispensary and to add recreational sales.
okay, I find no error in the application. So at this time, I would assume one of you fellows like to come up and tell us what you're proposing?
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Stephen Conk. I'm an attorney at Drexel and Andrews, based in Akron, Ohio. I was actually before you, I guess it was 7 years ago.
Mhm.
It was 2017. With me is Andrew Wagner, who is the corporate representative, who was also with me 7 years ago, for 127 OH LLC, doing business as Bloom Cannabis. And I'm gonna, when the time is, I'm gonna do a little quick introduction, then I'm gonna bring Andrew up to talk about specific facts about the proposed modifications. So we are asking for a renewal of the conditional use permit that was originally granted in August of 2017. That was for a 2-year period, and then it was renewed in 2019 for a 5-year period. So it's set to expire in August of 2024. Just as all you probably know, in November, the initiative was passed to legalize adult use cannabis products. And currently, the Department of Commerce has promulgated regulations for that. And we're in the process, actually, we've already submitted an application to convert this facility into an adult use dispensary. The word is that could happen any day. It was announced that it was gonna be June 24th, but it could be, it has not happened yet, but it could be any day now. There is a priority under the regulations for existing dispensaries, so there's a limitation on what the number of adult use dispensaries dispensaries. And the priority is given to the existing dispensaries because they've got an established track record and there's already existing, gone through much of the approval processes from the zoning perspective. So we do anticipate that they will get the adult use license and would be probably getting it any day now. So the intent is, this is located at 382 Black Brook Road, and we did provide an aerial packaging so you can see kind of what the existing building is. The intent is to use the existing building, but we do intend to make some modifications. And I thought what I could do is just have Andrew come up here. He's already been sworn in, and we could just go through on topic by topic, and then you guys can ask any questions as we go through that. So Andrew, first of all, just state who you are and your address and business address.
Andrew Wagner, I'm the Director of Communication for Bloom Cannabis. The headquarters address is 129 Northwest 13th Street, Suite 26. That's in Boca Raton, Florida. The zip code is 33432.
Okay, and by the way, I don't think I gave my business address, but it's 222 South Main Street, Akron, Ohio, 44308. So Andrew, if you could just start off by talking about the plan in terms of using the existing building. Are you intending to use the existing signage? What changes, if any, to signs that you can move?
Yes, as you may know, the building itself is around 9,000 square feet. Over our previous operating years, we have built out 4,500 square feet of that facility. So we essentially use the front half. We did not have any plans to expand it to the back half of the building at this time, because that would be a major modification underneath the Division of Cannabis Control. And but we're not ruling that out, maybe down the road in the future, a couple of years. There, in terms of the facility itself, to prepare for the influx of customers and patients alike, our showroom, or what is referred to as the dispensing area, so that is the secure area you go into after you check in at the receptionist desk. And then you go through what are called the hand trap doors, and then you're into the showroom dispensing area. It's a limited access area per DCC rules. So as of right now, if you're a patient, then until Rex Hill, couldn't get in there, only medical patients could. So we have expanded the number of registers in the showroom. So we have gone from 7 to, I believe, 11 to 12. 4 of those are dedicated express lane pickups. So I believe we may have mentioned in our submittal, we have been utilizing online ordering for quite some time now, and it is very effective and very beneficial. Pulling up last month's numbers, about 80% of all orders placed at Painesville Township location, came through as online orders. So they still have to come pick them up. As of right now, the Department of Cannabis Control, or DCC as I'll refer to them, they have not implemented the process of home delivery. That is something that will be allowed in the future once the initiated statute is finalized, and they create those rules. They also allow through drive-through. However, our facility does not have the space for a drive-through, so in the future we plan to check out the validity of delivery service. We had some questions about waiting room space, and as well as preventing live performing outdoor. So our existing lobby is one of the larger lobbies of dispensaries in Ohio. It's about 380-ish square feet. And what most people don't know, because the doors are always shut, is that we actually have 4 additional unused rooms in that area that can be used for waiting room capacity. And that essentially is another 385. So roughly around 785 square feet will be opened for patients and customers to wait inside. We do plan to help mitigate customers and patients from standing outside. One, obviously prioritizing medical patients as required by DCC laws. We will employ third-party licensed and insured security guards. Now, their job is event that we reach max capacity, we are going to have the security guard stand at the door, and let's say you came up trying to check in, you'd be handed, the restaurant pager system kind of style. You ask why the pager style and not like a text message? Well, that's actually because of our federal status. A lot of cell providers will actually not work with us, and they cancel those plans and contracts quite frequently. So we're going to be using the pager system. So the security personnel will instruct the customer come to the door to take a pager. They'll record that number in the order that people came to the door. And then once a patron leaves the facility, the person on deck will be buzzed to come in and check in at the reception window, and then they would wait inside for their turn to go back into the dispensing area. Now, to help speed up that flow, we have also changed our policies where before it was one person, or one customer, one patient per every employee that's working at a register. So now, because the DCC has now allowed it, it will now be 2 customers per register per employee. So there will be one essentially waiting, on deck, ready to
Be
go.
allowed in the facility.
Being allowed back in the dispensing area. And then, so that will help speed up the process and keep the waiting area less full than just having everyone wait for their turn.
And you've had experience with adult use dispensaries in other states.
Yes.
Do you anticipate that being a real problem in terms of the numbers of people coming, that not having enough space in the waiting room?
No, and quite frankly, like I said, this Painesville probably is our largest that we've ever had a waiting room area. Our Missouri and Maryland properties that also went adult use, they are quite smaller, and they've been capable of fulfilling those orders or filling the wait line and getting them in and out. As I said, what really helps speed that up is the fact that majority of our orders are online pickup, so they'll just go. There could be no changes made at the online express registers, so you can't add to your order. If you want to, then you'd have to go back and wait in the queue again. So that way we're not holding up those dedicated registers to get people quickly sped through.
So you want to talk about the plans for the parking?
Yes. Oh, and I also wanted to mention, with the new rules, we have employed state-of-the-art ID scanners that can verify adult use driver's licenses and as well as other government identification cards instantaneously. So all they have to do is scan it. It'll run through our POS system, verify it, and it'll run through the background system of the ID scanner to validate that license, ensure the patron is 21 and older, and that will be specifically for adult use. And I did want to just clarify one thing. The DCC has 3 different license types. There's medical, there's dual use, which is what we are requesting, and then there's adult use only dispensaries. An entity can only have up to 8 dispensaries in the state of Ohio, 5 of which can be dual use, which is the 5 that we currently have around the state of Ohio, and then our 3 additional that we are going for would be adult use only. So I just wanted to make that clear that we're going for a dual use application in the township of Painesville.
And that dual use is the legal term that the DCC regulates. So why don't you talk about the parking?
Yes, so there, yeah, we have had concerns about the parking. According to the property description, if you see here, we have parking up in the front, kind of by the grass area and the shrubbery in the front, and then we have parking down the back. The listing actually states that there are 33 spots there, but as you can see, kind of where that red car is at the top, and then there's like a second garage in the middle of that lane, so yeah, they're counting that kind of as 2 spots, but we don't use those spots. And then there's that other garage bay there, it's kind of in the middle. So it's roughly about 30 spots are available. As of right now, the lane that runs parallel with the building is employee parking. We are going to remove that and then open that entire lot up to patient and customer parking. Now, what we've done, and we've done so quite some time, this aerial doesn't show the full sidewalk per se, but we actually do rent a unit at the neighboring building to so if you're looking at the screen, it is to your right. So we have been leasing a property there. We do not use the property. We don't enter the property or the
You mean
physical.
the actual inside? the
Yeah,
building?
we don't go inside the building.
You want to use it.
So there's no business or anything being conducted in that building. We have merely done so we could have access to that parking lot. That parking lot has roughly 70 spots. Our employees currently also park there, but we are gonna mandate it that our employees have to park in that area. At any given time, with, shift changes and all that, we could possibly, occupy up to 40 of those. But most likely, aside from shift changes, it'll be around 20 to 25 spots that are occupied. But there are plenty of spots. We have not had any complaints from the other neighboring tenants. They only used a handful or a few spots. So that has helped address, the need for additional parking that we're currently using, so.
Okay, and then essentially then, that, the parking lot that's on the right would really be employee only. So
Yes.
that you would have the full 30 available for customers,
That's right.
people coming in. How often would you, in terms of a customer coming in and out, how long would you have it?
That is,
Be on site?
that's a great question. So obviously, there are, some search situations, especially for medical, where they might request a consultation, which we still will provide and all that. But we do schedule those. So if a new medical patient wanted to learn about cannabis and all of that, we would have that scheduled in advance, so we know that this spot's gonna be taken up and reserved for quite some period of time, usually about 30 to 45 minutes. For the most part, the patrons at our facility are in and out within 5 minutes. That's good, once again, because of the online ordering being the beef of automated or daily operations, so. And then those that do just wanna come in and order, they are pretty quick too. Our dispensary agents are very good at giving the recommendations and helping them identify the products and their concerns. So, say at the most for someone just walking in and not wanting a consultation, and this is an adult use customer, they'd probably be in there for 10 minutes.
Do these people come in, is the medical, is it prescribed by doctors?
Yes. So the way it works is that to become a medical patient, you have to, one, register with the DCC, which was formerly it was the BOD, it's a Board of Pharmacy, until the Cannabis Control took over at the beginning of this year. So you do have to register with them. There was once a registration fee that the amount, excuse me, but the DCC has actually wiped that amount down to 1 penny. They're working to get it free. That's just for the government issued medical card. Now you still have to go to a qualified physician, and those physicians physicians, their prices range. Most are spending $150 for a brand new car and probably around $100 for a renewal. Those cards are good for so you have the physician recommendation, and then the physician would also recommend what products you may and may not use. So someone with asthma, the physician may say they cannot have any vaporization materials. They can only do edibles or whatever. And that is recorded in the patient's profile through the Ohio State program portal. So we know that coming in, and it tells us how many days left in their allotment are there, and then if there's any other restrictions. It also tells us, because the state actually designates it, whether they're veteran or indigent, because they are able to receive discounts, which you can't do any other type of discounts unless you offer it to everyone. They're the only 2 groups that can have an additional discount. So that will change once rec goes into full effect in September 7th, but the medical discounts from our perspective are going to stay in place.
So we did want to talk also about the hours. What are the hours of operation that you're planning
Yes.
to go to a dual use dispensary?
Yes. So, according to DCC, they are going to allow sales from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Now, one of the stipulations, including ensuring that you always have an adequate supply of medical So if we were ever getting low per se, we would deny adult use customers, so we would have that adequate supply. But they also state that we have to take measures to prioritize the medical patients. Those measures, they gave recommendations, but they didn't say you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. So some of it is like we wanna have some, potentially designated parking spots right up front for the medical, obviously including handicap, so that they're closer to the door, as well as, we're proposing opening from 8 to 10 p.m. This will help us because we have staffed up for the demand, and it would allow us to have the morning hour of 8 to 9 to primarily focus on all medical use patients. So that would kind of be like their shopping hour without the having to deal with the long lines of recreational and whatnot. So that is what we're proposing. Doing 8 to 10, it allows us to do 2 shifts that have each registered, each of the 11, 12 registered manned. And that's also including, security personnel, or receptionist personnel, inventory personnel that work in the back, fill online orders, that receive deliveries, et cetera. So with that, we have ramped up, we're around 40, 45 employees right now. So that is why we're proposing 8 to 10, so we can have that dual shift and also help spread out the congestion that, that can come with more condensed hours. So giving people more options to come versus having everyone race there at 5 from 5 to 7. Or, coming after a child's sporting event at 9 o'clock, they have that option. Yeah, we believe that will help mitigate some of the traffic concerns.
Kind of I guess, stupid question. Is it, anybody can come in? Can they come from Pennsylvania, Kentucky?
That is correct. So we accept anyone really around the world as long as they're 21, have valid government ID, so state ID, driver's license, passport, tribal card. We have been training our staff, and we have detection mechanisms, like the UV lights and all that are check-ins. So if someone presented, let's say, a Canadian passport, there's a quick flip book for them that is from this year, 2024, that they would list everything that they need to check for. Unfortunately, you can't scan a passport, but if they had an ID per se, they, if someone came in with a Canadian ID, we could scan that, and they would pick it up.
Are you involved in, Michigan has done recreational for a while, haven't they? Do you have places in Michigan?
We do not. We've this would be our third market that we've opened for adult use or recreational. The first one was actually, believe it or not, was Maryland, and then it was our Missouri.
So you do have experience where recreational is
Yes.
permitted?
Yes. So at least going on about 2+ years of recreation.
Be honest with me, what kind of things do you run in there that we need to be concerned about in our township? In a recreational in Maryland, and you said somewhere else.
Oh, they're like, what kind of issues that we run
Yeah.
into? Okay, that's a great question. So, we have taken great strides, obviously, the break-in that happened some odd years ago here in Painesville. We beefed up all of our security, doubled up all of our security. We even have 24/7 monitoring, so after hours, people live monitor, the company does that. We really haven't had too many issues, I mean, aside from someone driving into our building in Maryland, which was no fault of ours, it wasn't even a customer of ours. They came through the building. It kind of is operations as usual. Everyone thinks that it's gonna be pot leaves everywhere, and you're gonna have smoking outside, and people sitting, selling it on the corner. We don't see that in these markets because they are so well regulated. Ohio's gonna be, out of the 3 we've operated, probably the most regulated. So I'm not just trying to blow smoke. We really haven't had these issues,
And it is against the law to loiter outside,
Yes.
so that's probably the reason for security personnel.
Yeah.
To make sure you're not loitering outside.
No loitering, no consumption on the premises, all of that. Obviously, you might have some people that come in there that are inebriated already, and, that's why we do have security personnel to say that, to deny them the ability to sell. Sometimes you'll have what people call looping, whereas, adult use sale is anywhere. It's recorded that we made the sale, the money and the sales tax were taken in, but it doesn't say that Thomas Hill came in today, bought his max of 2.5 ounces and 15 grams, and then tried to come back at 3 p.m. Now, we are working on systems in our POS to identify that. But, you know, the bad actors will just simply go, say, I'm gonna buy from Painesville Township, and then I'm gonna go over to Wickliffe and buy an additional. And that is illegal. There's really no way to track that, except for if they get caught. Because if you are caught with more than 2.5 ounces or 15 grams, in excess of that, then that is illegal and will go to jail.
So you're not the only player in the state of Ohio, Blue.
No.
Because I understand that our trustees have already getting ready to approve another one here in our township in a more visible area than where you're gonna be.
Oh, really? Okay. Are you aware of any other?
Yeah, I remember Dave mentioning that when we were talking about the setback buffer, that. it
But
was-
so I guess my question is, the different companies, you all have your security systems,
Mhm.
and you log, did you say you log what Thomas Hill bought this morning?
It'll log that, you know, for that day, like internally, we don't report it to anywhere, we will say that.
So you can't cross with another vendor?
Cross with
I mean, like, your reports wouldn't be crossed with another vendor down the street?
medical, yes. Like, so if you try to go in and, actually, so if you bought your full allotment as medical, then you try to go into the second location here, they would see that you have no more days left of your allotment, they can't sell to you. But unfortunately, there are no mechanisms to track adult use purchases because the state does not require that.
Okay.
In your application, you mentioned that you'll be providing security, but you're gonna commit to 6 months and then reevaluate after 6 months?
Yeah, that was the recommendation from Gabe, and the law director that we kind of reevaluated after 6 months.
What would be the things you would evaluate on?
We would look at, you know, obviously there are, you know, when industries launch, there's excitement and all that.
Mhm.
And then, you know, for instance, with medical, the number of medical patients has been going down in Ohio. So is the security there needed for crowd control or is it there for threats? Now, if it's not needed for crowd control and there aren't no looming threats, maybe we don't have it the full hours. Maybe we just switch into nighttime security, you know, so that's what we mean by reevaluated. But there would also be something that is a condition of the township and that is something that we would abide by as well.
I understand you've been working closely with our trustees
Yes.
up to this point? Okay. Just explain to me, and I'm, you know, this is kind of tough. I was not a proponent of issue 2. But I'm sitting here and I have to look at what the law is, and I just want to be sure we're doing, you know, I've got to put away my personal feeling. I mean, I still have them, but we've got to act within the law here. Just explain the process, you know, I knew you were there. Somebody, first of all, your ages, they all different age groups? Or do you see mostly senior people?
That's a great question, actually. And it actually does range, and it also kind of ranges by their purchasing behavior. So we have ranges of all types, and we also medically, medicinally, we also serve minors. Obviously, they have to have a caregiver. Minors can't come and buy it, and they can't buy inhalation products. But we do see it actually predominantly right now in the medical market. The major players are kind of like the 30 to 45-year-olds. We do have a fairly large population of senior citizens. The 18, you know, 30-ish in a medical market that is as stringent as Ohio with qualifying conditions, they're just healthy enough where they don't qualify. So they're not becoming patients yet. So obviously with rec, you would see an increase in the younger adults, but as I've seen, and I can attest to my own personal anecdotes with my family, is I had police officers growing up in my entire life, and they're against cannabis, and now they're all retired and they use it every day. So it's kind of something that just kind of continues to carry on. But we do see ample amounts of each generation and each, you know, age group.
I would assume that coming through your facility on recreational, that's not gonna be the least expensive thing somebody can go get on this. On the street, they could probably get it a lot cheaper if they want to. Cause you've gotta have taxes and everything else involved
Mhm.
in your
Yeah.
facility.
That's a great question, thank you for bringing up the taxes. So, yeah, the issue two, I won't say it was the DCC, it was issue two, the initiated statute, improvises or allows for a 10% excise tax on all adult use sales, while it removes the any sales tax or whatever for medical sales, which is great for medical patients, which we want and we care about that. And in addition, there is obviously the county sales tax, and then township or any hosting municipality of one of these cannabis dispensaries that allow adult use can impose up to a 2.25% local sales tax. So then that is calculated quarterly, and then it is dispersed to the hosting municipalities through the host community fund, 36% of the adult use sales tax. So let's say if you take out the local tax, and then you have 36% of 36% of 10%. A host community, if they do not want to impose a local sales tax, would at least get 3.6% sales tax back from adult use sales, and it could go up as high as to 5.8, or if they want to impose the extra 2.5, but they could impose 0.25 or 1%. That's what the initiated statute gives to the local hosting municipality.
Now, would this go to the county or right to Painesville Township?
We go to the township.
So basically, you have the normal county sales tax, that would go to the county, and that gets dispersed out, school district, or whatever. Township gets part of those percentages. Then the township can also impose their own excise tax on top of that.
Remember,
Up to 2.5.
up to 2.5, but the county would not get anything of the 3.6% of the excise tax that you're getting for the hosting.
And you say you already have a 10% excise tax built in?
Well, that's the adult use tax, so it would be the 10% plus the county plus whatever the local municipality would like to, up to 2.6%.
Okay, so maybe I said it wrong. So 3.6% of the sales tax goes to the host municipality?
Yes,
I see.
That's what I was looking at.
a minimum of 3.6.
Has the trustees
can go up to
indicated
two.
that they're invoking a local sales tax? Because I'm not aware of any local sales tax.
In our conversations, I had brought up that question because it is something we need to know to program our POS to do the proper calculations. They said that they have been discussing, but they have not finalized that number yet. But they are aware that they can impose that tax.
But if they don't impose it, they're still gonna get 3.6% of the 10%.
Yes.
How big an increase do you anticipate going from strictly medicinal to recreational? I noticed 20 employees at a time, that's quite a sales force you got.
Yes. So it'll kind of be a staggered kind of thing. One, the DCC is not having a singular day where everyone gets their license and adult use sales start. They're rolling it out on a first come, first served basis. So that may impact, so let's say, with the dispensary with gets theirs before us and they're approved, like, they might see a huge slam and then we come 3 weeks later or whatever, so that could affect it. But, well, realistically, we're looking at about, a twofold increase. So, let's just say, using medical numbers, but applying the highest amount, 5.85% local sales tax.
I wasn't entering the money, I just wondered how big an increase of sales, not dollars, but the number of people coming in and out.
So,
If you had, another question then would be, you have anticipating 20 employees now, what did you have for employees with strictly medicinal?
so when it was strictly medicinal, and we were at the Painesville Township location, we had 7 registers.
roughly going from 10 to 20?
Yeah.
Double, so you're anticipating double sales.
Double sales, so,
Except that the adult use customers are gonna be coming in and out much faster.
Yeah, well,
They're not there to consult.
so you'll actually be double plus, better than 100%.
yeah, but, which is, we hope.
What is your annual sales revenue?
So the annual sales, well, I just top of the number off of my head, Painesville netted, just like, for medical sales, they typically average around 150 to 1 million net a month. So, you know, you think about doubling that,
150, I mean, 150,000 to a million is a huge, yeah.
sorry, 950.
Okay.
That's gross revenue.
Yeah, gross, and then, so you think about that, and if you were to double that, or let's just say if you said net was $1 million, then you double it for adult, the townships walk it out each month with $58,000 in sales tax.
Do you have a rough feel ballpark, the number of people that come through your facility on average in a day?
An average in a day,
As a medical,
As a medical, and then your estimate for after.
so, I did math, I'm a social science guy, but, as of last month, Painesville processed around, 9,500 transactions for the full month. And we were open, June 30 days, math there. Obviously, some days are busier than others, you know, Mondays and Tuesdays and Sundays are slower. So if you double that, you know, we're looking at 18,000 transactions
Per month.
a month.
Okay, and then you said you're gonna double the size of your waiting room up to the final, it'll be now 794 square feet,
I believe so, 785.
785? Okay. So, I'm just curious, like, what do you anticipate the capacity of your waiting room to be, like, the number of people that you could safely fit in the waiting room once you have the revised capacity? We're just trying to get a feel for the people, the number of people and your ability to process them all.
So I believe when I was looking at the initial plans, that did not incorporate the additional offices or unused rooms up there. I believe it was, because it is rather, I believe those were along the lines of 25 to 30, I believe. Now, I could be mistaken, like, I play it safe, let's just say 20, just to play it safe. So, and then you're doubling the size, so I think 40 people could be in the area that would safe egress, without stampeding and giving them, you know, the required square footage per person.
and that's probably why you think there'll be plenty of room.
Yeah.
You're not going to squeeze that many people at one time.
No. To answer, someone brought up, you know, what it was like for our other markets, and, yeah, like, I kind of got off tangent. Yeah, there's hype initially, then it kind of slows down, and then it becomes the same thing. It's like, okay, the dispensary's there, I don't have to rush to it, I don't have to, you know, go buy up everything, it's not going anywhere. So it becomes like going to the grocery store or going to the liquor store. And it quickly fades. People, you know, are excited at the beginning, but then it just quickly fades to be another day of life. You're running your errands on Tuesday afternoon, then you stop at the dispensary because you're doing it all in one trip. It's not like people are frequent flyers coming day in, day out.
When you mentioned that for overflow, you would be using a pager, correct?
Yes.
You go to Longhorn Steakhouse and they're lined up out the door, they give you a pager, but the first question you say, about how long do I have to wait? I mean, how big a backup do you plan on seeing? Like, hey, you gotta go sit in your car for 2 hours or 3 hours?
No, we did not anticipate that. Saying that, you know, typical customer is in and out within 5 minutes. And especially being that previously to order online, you had to come in person first as a patient to be entered into the system and all that. As an adult use customer, you can place an order online, you still have to pay in store, but you don't have to come in and make a first visit, which are the longer visits, because you have to fill out paperwork and all of that. So, as a brand new customer, I could literally go on, put it, we'll have, also, I forgot to mention that as well. So with our online ordering and whatnot, we're going to give specific time windows as well, that you can come and pick up. So, we're not gonna force you to say like you have to be 2 to 4, we're gonna give you options, but we're
You
gonna,
pick the time.
you pick the
You
time,
have the available time.
but we pick the number of spots in that time.
Yeah, we're probably asking some redundant questions. This isn't your first rodeo. It is for us, you know.
No, I understand.
That's gonna be the question.
That's what I'm here for.
Are most of your transactions, are they by credit card?
So we, it's cash, and then it's called a cashless ATM. So not credit card, you can't use credit cards, just want to make that clear. There've been a few different attempts, but once again, with federal standing and banking regulations, credit card processors and all that will work for us. So there are some companies that kind of, let's call it like a child's like prepaid debit card, where you can keep loading money onto it, and then you use that. So it's pretty much, you just transfer money to a gift card essentially. We don't use that type of service. So we actually use a service called cashless ATM, where you can use your actual debit card. And it's just like you're going to a convenience store, you have the PIN pad, you enter in your PIN number and all that. And then what it will do is that it doesn't necessarily, like, so if your order is $25 or $24.50, but you give me a 50, well, actually, it'll debit that, but then it doesn't kind of like you change in that way. So then we will like give you like 50 cents back to the customer. It's just how the process works. But you are allowed to use your debit card. Most people do use it. Obviously, we do have ATMs on site. Those are all authorized by RightCrat, the credit union that works with everyone in the state.
You can't use FDIC funds, is that correct?
So everything, so from our cash pickups to our ATM restocks and whatnot, that's all done through RightCrat Credit Union and their authorized third-party, security transports. So we're never taking cash in and out of the building. It's always security personnel.
Okay.
And those routes and times, they're quite frequent. I just don't want to say how frequent. But cash does not sit there long.
Anything else? Any other questions?
I just did some rough math. So if you said 18,000 potentially a month, and if I just use round figures and say 30 days a month, that's 600 per day. And if you're operating, how many hours in a day? Which are
Proposing 8 to 10.
8 to 10, so that would be 10 hours. 14 hours. 40. Okay, so that's about
40 to 50 an hour.
40 to 50 an hour. Your parking is 30, and your average time is 5 to 10 minutes per customer. So it helps to kind of put it in context.
It's like Chick-fil-A.
It's like
In our condensed schedule right now, you're still seeing about, especially peak times, you're seeing over that. Your peak times are always evening.
Mhm.
I had no idea you were that busy over there. I don't go by that way, but I had no idea you were that
We
busy.
like to remain quiet.
I go by every day and it is busy when I go by.
Is it? Well, you've been there, what, 7 years? And
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
August
I guess there has never been an incident, is that, John? Is that true?
No, I've been here for 2.5, and I've had repeat violations on other businesses, and not one a year.
The sheriff department is the one that would be respond to any problem there, Lake County Sheriff?
Mhm. And pursuant to the DCC rules, last Wednesday, I believe I sent it out to, did I send it to you as well, the notification, or did I send it to?
It would just be like the Lake County.
Yeah,
Sheriff.
so I sent it to some of the, both, it was required for municipality and the responding law enforcement. We were required to notify that we received a provisional license for a dual-use dispensary, which it doesn't mean that we can start selling. It just means that the process for the DCC to start doing their inspections and to certify everything has begun. So we did issue that, and then
Kind of puts them on notice.
yes, then once we do receive the dual use license, we are required to also issue that notice.
Andy, just clarify for me, since this is a conditional use permit, and if this board would go ahead and grant this with recreational and medicinal, and it turns into something that we weren't expecting, we can revoke the conditional use?
I believe that you can, and the other way that you can kind of safeguard against that with this being a newer change is limiting, not doing a 5-year, doing a shorter.
Well,
term.
we did that the
Yeah.
first time, we gave
Right.
2,
Right.
and then there were no issues, so we
if
took it
there's
up to 5.
and if there are issues, and I think some of the issues that you guys are concerned about, especially with the loitering, that is covered under the new law, that the sheriff would be able to do some enforcement in their own security. It sounds like would be doing that too.
That's a state law?
Yes, there are a lot of conditions to avoid what in the law to prevent. I think what people are concerned about is you get this convergence of people hanging out and using right there at the dispensary. So that is set up to avoid those situations.
That's why, I did not, when I saw this, I said, I don't think the Board of Zoning Appeals in Painesville Township should be the one that goes ahead and grants this thing carte blanche. And that's why I had a long talk with Gabe Chickanetti, and it relieved me somewhat that they are aware of the state laws.
Right.
They've been in close contact with these people, and they've helped them put some of these conditions in there, because I said, why is the Board of Zoning Appeals doing this?
And they have
Gabe assured me that they weren't even sure they had to send that to us, except that it was the renewal of the conditional use
Right.
permit.
And they have every interest in making sure that those state regulations are followed to keep their license. And you've heard how profitable this is. They certainly have every interest in making sure that this works.
Yeah, I mean, if I could piggyback off of Tom. So, yeah, that was one of the questions I had. I know I've been reading, articles about the legislation, and there's pending revisions to the regulations as they currently exist. So, check me on my thinking here. So, if we were to grant the conditional use permit today, then for their application, it would be required that you follow all the existing conditions as set forth by law by the Ohio legislature. And then if any other changes or revisions were to be forthcoming, then those changes would also be applied to.
Well, what I might suggest is that, a condition B, that they follow all of the state and local laws regarding, the dispensaries and, patients' use. And if you have that as a condition, I believe that's a way to safeguard if they're violating that you would be able to revoke.
They're controlled more by the state than by us, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But I think what you're saying is, if they violate a state thing, we can say, hey, you're not welcome here anymore in our township. Yes?
The very first time we approved this, we put a 2-year term on it so that we could review it then. Might not be a bad plan to do this as well.
Yeah.
Now that they're
Yeah,
changing
just-
it to a lesser term than 5 years, and then take a look at things. again.
Sure. That's why we did it the first time.
Right, but it's a pretty big change to go from
Yeah.
medicinal to
Yeah.
recreation.
You understand that we have 1 to 5 years we can put on a
Oh, I
conditional
understand,
use
yeah.
permit. So we're just kind of protecting ourselves. We did it the first
Well, that
time
way
and there were no issues.
Comes off, it might be
Yeah.
able to change the regulation.
Okay, I might have missed something in there. I think we need to go over the hours again, because you mentioned something about 7 AM to 11 PM. Did I hear
That
that?
is what underneath the rules, the DCC rules, that a dispensary could be allowed to sell.
Okay, but that's not what you wanna do?
No, we are proposing 8 to 10.
Okay, cause I didn't see that anywhere in your
Yeah,
application.
and we did put that in the application, so.
I think it was probably overlooked with the 5 or 6 other
So
recommendations.
that was our.
Is that all-
Sorry.
I
What
mean,
days
you
are
guys know the business.
That would be 7 days,
That's 8 to 10, what days?
7 days.
7 days a week? Okay. Makes it
Offices
easier.
closed on Christmas and New Year's
They
Day.
might look at it wrong.
The application has 9 to 7.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought.
Was that what-
We did have,
Or this is the old
and we
application.
did have shorter
That was the
hours
ori-
on
that was
Sunday.
for the-
Currently, you have shorter hours on Sunday.
Sunday is 10 to 6, according to
Well, this is all from the
Oh, that's
This is,
the-
this is their
Yeah.
initial application.
Yeah.
That was the original permit.
Right, that's, okay.
The part of the reason for the expansion of the hours is so that we can stretch out the people, not having them come to 5 to 7.
The other two facilities that you operate, what are your hours there?
The exception of Mommy, we have, 3 other facilities, so, 5 in total. We have Columbus, Akron, and then 7 Mile down by Cincinnati. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the village, most people haven't.
It's on the way to Miami University.
Yeah, that's pretty much how you describe it.
They're gonna be happy in Miami University,
Oxford has a dispensary.
Oxford, yeah.
So right now they're operating from 9 to 9. And it's a hard stop at 9, so actually we cut off per rules for medical. We still have to see how the DC changes that for adult use, but you cannot come in our doors past 8:30 because we cannot process a transaction past 8:59. So they actually cut off people that haven't placed an online order if you're just walking in because we have to follow that. You can't go past 8:59 currently.
It's 7 days a week.
Yes.
So you know these hours work for you internally
Yes.
with what you need to do to get ready.
So yeah, that with these hours, proposed hours that our retail team have developed, they have hired the staff to allow for these hours.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I'm just trying to see where the application and the rules are.
The what?
What the hours are on the application, I can't figure out which page.
We
We're
didn't
not in
submit
it.
hours.
They didn't submit
didn't.
hours, it's from the previous one from,
This is from 2017.
The renewal in 2019 is in here also.
Yeah, so that's,
Those are.
basically we showed the previous one on there, so
Yeah,
it
this is
says,
from the,
I think I submitted a copy of the conditional use
Yeah.
permits from the 2019.
It was 9 to 7 and
and
10
then
to
before
6.
it was
So we
9
are, we
Right.
would be asking, as part of the conversion to an adult use, the change in the hours.
So what are the hours to be done? Just
We're saying, we
8 to
would like
10.
it to be from 8 AM to 10 PM. And he explained kind of the reason for that. Do you want to say?
Yeah, so reasoning for that is to help spread out the demand and offer more pickup hours, of course, too, pickup available slots for online. And to make sure that every register is manned, we had to hire additional staff to do so, but to make sure that they're meeting their 40 hours a week and whatnot. Going from 8 to 10 would allow us to run those 2 shifts and ensuring that the full-timers are indeed full-time and then get their workers' benefits.
Sorry,
And
this
then
is,
also they were gonna give some priority to medical.
Yes,
So 8 and 9.
8 to 9 would be medical, it would be something that we publicize. It's like, hey, if you want to avoid all the lines, this is the time to come. And then after that, obviously, we still prioritize medical. If Stephen was adult use and not medical, even though Stephen walks in ahead of me, and we see that there are 5 medical waiting, they're gonna get precedent to go back, just because that's how we do it in Maryland, that's how we do it in Missouri, just because we have to do that.
That was 8 AM to 9 AM?
Yes.
One other question, and again, this is somebody being naive. Medical marijuana or medical cannabis, does this come in gummy forms or is it all
That's a great question.
smoking it or?
Actually, really great question, because it kind of goes into how adult use is going to be a little different. So, Ohio calls them, as you can see here, Ohio calls them approved administration methods. So it's just the different ways that you can administer and consume cannabis. So we have what everyone knows, for Cheech and Chong, we have the flower, the bud, the dry herb. As of right now, underneath medical rules for medical patients, they can purchase flower or dry herb, but they cannot use anything that combusts it. So they have to use a vaporizer that uses heat to extract the moisture into vapor that heats the THC to change it from THCA to THC, and that they breathe in vapor, they're not breathing in smoke. Same kind of principle works for like a vape cartridge. If you see the kids walking around smoking their little e-cigs, so we call them vapes. They come in, different styles, but essentially it's concentrated THC oil for inhalation purposes. And those are heated by a battery device, like a stick battery or a battery mod. And what it does is it heats the atomizer contained within the cartridge, and once it's similar like dry herb vaporizing, it creates a vapor, a moisture vapor that also then carries the THC with it. And then when it's inhaled into your lungs, it hits you in about 1 to 2 minutes. The effects will hit you. Now these are gummies. All right, so I'll say edibles because there's gummy is obviously the most popular, but we have a whole bunch of different types of edibles. Some are mints, some are like Tic Tacs, gummies, of course. There's chocolates, there's honey, and they're all medicated. So with the edible or ingestation, depends a lot on your metabolism too, and your age, but it usually kicks in about 30 minutes to an hour, and the onset's usually a little bit longer. The durations are usually.
Is it pain relief? Is that basically what?
Pain relief, anxiety, depression, stomach. It helps a lot for IBS and whatnot. A lot of people do use it for primarily pain relief, but for people with Parkinson's, it helps control the shakiness. You have topicals too that are offered that don't get you high because it only targets your skin.
What's it do for a torn rotator cuff?
Well, you probably want a transdermal then. There's a difference. Topicals don't absorb into the bloodstream, so they will not get you high, but they will give you spot treatment, so great for arthritis. Now, for a torn rotator cuff, you'd probably want a transdermal because you put it on a venous part of your body, it would actually absorb into your bloodstream and it would give you the benefits. So, there's other, just to quickly go through them, there's concentrates, which are really high potency cannabis products. They come in like gram and half-gram sizes, so if you're talking about 3.5 ounces of flour versus a 1 gram of concentrate, they're kind of equal, except you're almost smoking that whole eighth in like 1 dab of concentrate. And then just some others that aren't as popular, but they're still out there. There are drinks and elixirs that they have, and then they also carry lines of suppositories for people with colon cancer and all that, because what happens is that when your body, if you ingest or you inhale cannabis, it goes into your blood and it goes through your liver, and your liver filters this out, and it actually does another transformation of the THC molecule. So to get all the benefits of THCA, which is the precursor to THC, which actually gets you high, suppositories are actually very beneficial for people with colon cancer because it bypasses the liver and gives them all the benefits of THCA, all that without the psychoactive effects. So,
Have our trustees visited your site?
I believe this is going back some of my former colleagues. I know we've always been in close contact with Gabe. I believe he has. As of right now, we can't have anyone in there because we're still underneath medical rules.
Right.
Beginning September 7th, we can do a tour then, because then adult rules, and they kind of lift the reasoning why, the township members would want to be in there.
That's why what I was leading to. At some point down the road, I would like to just go see the facility.
Yes, we can definitely do that after September 7th. As of right now, you would have to be
You
like.
can see the waiting room.
As of right now, the DCC would come back and say, you don't have any, reason unless you were doing an investigation or something, and then we would request that.
Yeah, that's fine. We make we may be in contact after September 7th and just, you know,
More than happy to have
And
it.
actually, since you brought it up, we should comment about the signage. So, for right now, you're gonna keep your current sign. Did you go?
Okay, sorry. So yeah, so we're still operating underneath the medical program rules until September 7th. And the DCC is still kind of like working through their advertising rules and whatnot. As it stands right now, any exterior signage that's not attached to the building can't be bigger than, I believe it is 16 by 18. So like your logo. So if you I believe Kenneth said he drives by quite frequently. And you see that old, used to be old school sign, or the previous tenant, that just has a 16 by 18 thing. It says Blue Medicinal, so you can see it from the road. Underneath per rules too, building signage cannot be illuminated. Now that sign is actually equipped to be illuminated. We just flipped a switch, but we did that just to save money down the road. And then we decided that we were gonna change our name to Bloom. So down the road, we will be swapping out that sign, but obviously going through the proper channels to do so.
But, and it would have to comply with whatever the rules are
Yeah.
under the state, so it couldn't get any larger. But we probably would at some point get rid of medicinals, but other than that, it would be the same
Mhm.
basic signage.
And then also the DCH rules, like, there's not gonna be billboards, they've already said that. You know, you can't go to, sports stadiums and set up a tent and all of that, so they're being pretty thorough in like what you can do for advertising.
okay. Anything else? Any
What
other
does that mean,
questions, Ken?
Travis?
Anybody? All right, would someone like to put together a, motion? I see Mr. Anzera's been here writing some things down.
Okay, I'll take a stab, but I may need some help here. All right, so I move to grant conditional use permit 2024-0009-BBZA with a modification for to add recreational cannabis sales with the following conditions. First, the operating hours would be 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week. Second, condition that the applicant would follow all applicable state of Ohio rules and regulations regarding the sales of cannabis for recreational and medicinal purposes. 3, the applicant would abide by the modifications as listed in the memorandum in support of the application for conditional use permit within their application. It's that 3-page memorandum that's in there. And 4th, it would be for a term of 2 years.
Any questions from any board members? You have that, Rachel? You wanna read it back, please?
So the hours of operation will be 8 AM to 10 PM, did we say 7 days a week?
Right.
And then they will follow all Ohio rules and regulations.
Applicable to the sale of medical and recreational or cannabis.
I might expand that just to say federal, state, and local
Okay,
in the event other things come into play.
sure.
For the sale of,
Medical and recreational cannabis.
for the sale of medical recreational cannabis,
Is adding the requirement to follow the federal regulations going to cause a problem for you guys?
That's a good question.
Yeah, cause
Yeah,
it's
I
just
would-
state.
I would
I-
personally
it's-
comply with state
Yeah,
and local.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should add the federal.
I get the intent, but yeah, review it.
We're just trying to cover all the bases with that one.
That was a good call.
And I don't think it's horrible to just, that they should follow all local and state laws, and regulations regarding sales, because it, you know, it covers everything, it's very
Yeah.
broad then.
Both present and any addendums that
Right.
are enacted in the future.
So, follow state and local rules and regulations.
Laws and rules regarding marijuana sales.
I would say, like you said, regarding the sale of medical and recreational cannabis.
Yes, that's
Sounds better.
better, yeah.
What was the,
Memorandum.
Yeah, and
It's in their packet. Top of the page is Retzel, Roetzel.
it's,
I think it was complying with the modifications that set forth in the memorandum of support. That was filed in support of the conditions.
Follow what's listed in the memorandum.
A memorandum in support of application for conditional use permit as submitted in their package, in their application.
Oh, okay. And then that's for a term of 2 years.
Yes. Okay. All right, motion's been made. Would someone like to second it, please?
I'll second.
Rachel, if you would call the roll?
that was Lindros, the second,
Yes.
Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dave Zero,
yes.
Dale,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes. Okay? Good luck, guys.
Appreciate it, thank you all.
No, I think you'll do well.
We need to journalize
We'll be sure to get that
Pardon?
forward.
Journalize this?
Yeah, Sean.
Does
Uh,
it make sense?
Yeah, when, you wanna start this as soon as, the state says go ahead with it?
Yeah, once we get the,
So once we get, so we're in provisional license right now, once we get the operational license, we are set up,
Well, let me just tell you why I'm asking this question, because this really doesn't become official until the minutes are approved at our next meeting, or we can journalize this decision, it makes it effective immediately.
oh, I would say we should make it effective immediately if we can.
we would prefer that.
Okay, all right, so if someone might wanna make a motion to journalize this decision,
Thank you.
I'll make the motion to journalize 2024-0009-BZA.
okay, need a second?
Second.
Okay, Ken,
Yes.
Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Dale,
Yes.
Dave Zero,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes,
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you, appreciate the call.
That was a nice presentation, thank you.
Appreciate it.
I needed it.
Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Pardon?
Samples what I have.
All right, so, make a motion to close the public hearing at this point? Need a motion to close the public hearing?
So I'll move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Dave Zero,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dale,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes. Okay, everyone's had a chance to read the minutes. Do you see any changes that need to be made in the minutes as submitted from last meeting? If not, make a motion to approve the minutes and let them, or do we need to do that, or they just enter them into the record as submitted, if there's no objections?
I mean, you are supposed to approve them, but you could even do a yay or nay on it.
Okay, all in favor of submitting the minutes in the public record as submitted, answer yay.
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 Okay, and I hear,
Is that
I
for
hear no
both-
nays.
Is that for both May 14th and June 11th? Because we did not approve May 14th, so it's.
We didn't?
Oh, that's right, there
We
was
had a couple
correction.
edits.
Oh, there were a couple edited things, yeah. Well, let's, yeah, for both months. Did anyone have any problem with either one? Okay, so yay on both? Yep. Thank you.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right, old business, looks like, we've got, Hack said they would be here, but they're not. They really don't need to be here, do they?
They do not need to be here for this
All right, so does Rachel need to read that, or we just go ahead and vote to renew it? They have a conditional use permit where they're repairing rail cars down on the Hack property, railroad engines on the Hack property down Painesville Township Fairport border.
You want me to read that out loud?
Sure.
Applicant Hawk Paul W. and Marlene E. submitted an application for conditional use permit renewal for property located at 2000 Fairport Nursery Road. The request is to renew conditional use permit 19-BBA-23 for service and repair of rural locomotives. Staff have received no complaints regarding the use.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion to renew that for a period of whatever years pleases you?
I'll make the motion to renew 2024-0010-BZA
For 5 years?
for the total of 5 years.
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay, Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dave Anzera,
Yes.
Dale,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes. Okay, do we have any new business, Sean?
Nothing currently. I received a call today. Someone asked about the cutoff, but they didn't explain what they were asking for variance wise, so,
Well, we should have this, the one over on Overlook Drive next month.
correct.
I myself will not be here on the 13th. I wanna make sure we have enough for a quorum, if anybody can commit now.
I should be here.
I'm
It's
here.
already in my calendar to be here.
It's on your calendar to be here?
Mhm.
Assistant Chairman, you mind taking?
I'm here. Yep.
Taking a look?
I'm here.
Okay, so we'll plan the meeting on the 13th and Mr. Anzera will preside. Okay, there's nothing else, make a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second?
Okay, Dave Anzera,
Yes.
Dale,
Yes.
Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes, thank you all for going through this. I had a vote no on issue 2, but you gotta place some of your stuff